Nice. Should have sent your mic stand with the plague kit. Here's fine. Nice. Give in and crack a beer.
You gonna bring us in?
Are we ready?
Basically, when this ends, you can bring it in.
All right. Welcome to Tumble Home, a Boundary Waters podcast. It's a weird one this week, folks. Thanks for being here. I am live in Studio K, and my good friend Eric is joining us via Skype. We're the insiders, but today we're apart. Eric coming to us live from Tumble Tourney headquarters.
Tumble Tourney headquarters. I am. Well, the sun behind me might give it away. I'm not in a bunker, but might as well be a bunker of my own madness. Yeah, we are in strange times, my man. And we joked last week about how this might be the reality. And there's no better way to be good stewards of the world we're living in than acting on keeping ourselves apart. And that's what we're doing.
We're acting on the recommendation of the experts. So this will work. It's weird, but, at least we get to continue on with the hashtag last tourney standing. I'm going to try and bring up the hype a little bit today.
Yeah, I can't...
You were watching live coverage of the Tumble Tournament 2020, brought to you by Tumble Home Sportsnet. Check the logo.
You got to get a little bit farther over. I can only see the N. There you go.
Really?
Yeah, if you didn't notice last week, those are two little people in a canoe paddling.
Tumble Home Sportsnet is brought to you by Moosehead Lager,
and
a Canadian tradition, and
Stone.
Stone. Devil's. Delicious.
Delicious IPA. Yeah, you gave me that.
Boy.
Just like those dirty, rotten scoundrels in Congress who were dumping all their stocks in lieu of this crisis we're in, you gave me an insider tip and told me that the Grand Marais Municipal Liquor Store would be closing the day that it did. And I went in, I chanced fate,
My man.
and I loaded up. And I don't know if it's 60 days worth, but it's a start.
There's nothing wrong with taking advantage of that insider information, but at least you weren't out there telling people the liquor store is going to be open all week. No. Don't worry about it. And then you're secretly in there buying the last of the beer. Yeah, now that would be comparable, but still an order of magnitude less.
Yes.
But yeah, I had called it. I had heard some tips that the liquor store was going to close, and I was telling everybody, and then they finally actually announced it to the public 15 minutes before they actually closed. Yeah. The final night. That was on Wednesday, I believe.
I mean, I get it to a certain extent. It's one of those things where it's like, yeah, as soon as you say we're closing, then the place would be packed. But at the same time, what's the point of even saying anything if you're going to do it 10 minutes before you close?
Right. But, so I'm glad you got there.
I did. Yeah, I did. And, I mean, I don't think all liquor stores are closed. It's just because it happens to be a municipally run, county run liquor store, that's why it is. But I don't, you know,
there's still other options.
Anything is possible at this point. They might shut down the Sky next week. Who knows?
The highways would be a prime candidate to get shut down next. So
yeah,
back roads it is.
Yeah. We're not here.
I did just fly back from Remix, even though the Ontario-Minnesota border is officially closed. We flew down the trails. Arrow and I ski-jored up to Remix to be live at the game everybody's thinking about this week. The 11-seed Bobbers versus the 2-seed Saw. My hero. I love Team Saw. I've been on Team Saw my entire life. Basically, I was born into being a fan of the Saws, and I was able to see them live up there in Remix. I will not give away the results of that matchup, but I just got back via Ski-Jor just 5 minutes ago. We were live in the field. I wish I had some audio, but the border crossing guards did confiscate my live audio, but I can recount what happened. And that's how I was able to get this Moosehead lager, actually.
Oh, yeah. So you flew up there, but then you had to ski back.
I mean, I meant we ski-jored so fast that we were flying. I meant it in that way.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, I don't have access to a Cessna or a de Havilland Beaver with skis. Sorry.
No. Yeah, so we are sponsored by the beers that we have already discussed. And I should say, we are also sponsored this week by a beer that I'm not going to open. I got home from your just a little bit of insider. I needed to pick up this microphone and a couple of fishing implements from you, and you put them in a bag and set them on your front stoop for me to come over and pick up. And as
and then when you got there, I just came up to the glass door and just put my hand up to it. It's you.
You fogged a little heart into the window for me, but I was halfway there and I was like, dang it, I should have brought one of these because I have successfully. It's thawed. It's liquid. It's boy! It's a big boy, two-hearted.
The rehabilitated two-hearted.
I know that there
was
some
super
people,
tall one.
A couple of people that were asking, whatever happened with those two-hearted? You guys said you were going to sous vide back to life. They came back to life. Actually, yesterday we put them in the sink, and they were looking pretty bad. And like they actually started like kind of sucking in. They were weirdly kinked like a Capri Sun container, and then we put them in the fridge.
Just concerning.
Right. Yeah, I mean, but then this morning they came out of the fridge. They're taut. They're nice. I'm not going to crack this and taste it because, well, maybe I should. I mean, I need a beer. There's one more.
Sous vide.
Yeah, I'll. If it turns out that it tastes good, I'll leave the other one in your mailbox.
Yeah, or just bring it to the beach later.
Oh yes, we are actually.
We're gonna go hang out on the beach.
And
10 feet apart.
10 feet apart. We're gonna each draw a number on an online number pulling game, and then that is the order that we get to go and stand next to the fire that we start, and then we'll take shifts if we get cold.
Yeah, we're gonna be burning some pallets. I've procured 3 pallets. 3.
Nice. Well, then, yeah, we can probably still stand 10 feet apart and stay warm.
That's what I'm thinking.
There's no surfaces on the beach, so it's different than coming into each other's homes. So I feel like we'll probably be mostly all right on the beach. It's supposed to be nice.
Fresh air is the key.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll splash a little Lake Superior water on my face.
Yeah. It's calm out there.
Little anecdote. What is it? Antidote.
What? Antidote. Yeah. Not
nailed it.
All right. Well, this is potentially a good two-hearted from Steve. We'll see. And I'll bring the other one down to the beach if it's
Steve
good.
D?
Steve D. He's the topography wood carving guy too.
He's doing better than me in Fantasy Iditarod right now. That's for sure. How's it? How's the how's the mouthfeel on that thing?
Wow. Not bad. To tell you the truth, not bad. All right.
Yeah, I thought it was worth the try.
Well, it's a good sign when you find the beer frozen and the bottom or the top isn't like blown out. And so I think it froze in such a way that we should be fine. And it is fine. It's good. So we're sponsored by Steve's Two Hearteds. And I can already tell I'm going to be too hot in the studio here with this jacket on. So I'm going to strip my jacket off, and then we're going to get to some responses from our listeners in the field and on RBWCA on what they thought was going to happen in the Sweet 16 of the Tumble Tourney.
I'm very, very excited to hear what our friends on RBWCA have to say and hear their predictions. I want to know who they got as the lock of the weeks. I went back and double checked. I thought I had said wine was my lock of the week, and it is confirmed. Still confirmed. Wine is my lock of the week, but that's not a very bold call. I expect our friends on Reddit will have a lot more bold predictions for us. Before we get into the actual live results, again, we have not looked ahead now at the live results. The only matchup I know the results to was the magical thing that that Arrow and I just witnessed up in Remix to the north.
The magical thing.
They played the matchup right in front of the old log cabin on the shores down by the beach, and we'll get to that though later in the West bracket. Before we get into it, and your shirt's looking very nice, by the way, Eric. I think that was the right call. The tie is well suited. I would like to say I've heard a barred owl in the neighborhood a couple times here in the last week, which was pretty neat. And in this day, this week has been a weird one, but it's nice to hear something like that. Hearing a barred owl in the spring again.
Yeah, no, I've had some saw-whats recently in the neighborhood as well.
Yes,
just generally some more birds. They're still going about their business just fine. Probably wondering what the heck the humans are doing, if they can even comprehend. But yeah, it is nice.
A little quiet out there.
A little quiet out there. There is a little bit of spring animal activity. It is nice. So, should we bring up? We got a couple of long reads here from some seriously in-depth insiders. They have nothing but time on their hands. And
I can't wait to hear what they have to say. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to help you read these.
Right.
I'll just be here listening and nodding.
Well, you can listen and nod on the video, but the vast majority of the fine folks that listen to the TSN coverage of this majestic bracket will be listening in audio form. So you nod away, and I will stop at the end of each read, and we can dissect and then hopefully inject some of that analysis into the upcoming results. This is from Jacob Backer, just a full-on actual name, Reddit username. All right. I am in no way affiliated with Tumble Home, a Boundary Waters podcast, Tumble Home Sports Network, or any of the Tumble Home affiliate companies. Do we have any other affiliate companies?
Not yet.
Okay. I thought there was maybe another podcast we thought that we were maybe going to start at one point, but...
we have several other podcasts in the works, but nothing official.
In the hopper.
That's right.
He continues, these opinions are solely my own as an independent Grand Marais, Minnesota-based field analyst. Ooh, he's still a local, though. I am sickened. That's all caps by the performance of the Fighting Hammockers this past week. To lose to the Wetfooters, a team best described by the word moist, is an utter embarrassment to hangers everywhere. The Wetfooters were clearly the doubted underdogs coming into this week. It's been reported that when arriving at the airport sporting their trademark white Hanes socks and Chubby's shorts, even the ground-dwelling tent fans shook their heads in doubt and dismay. Who could feel anything else for a team that we know is typically poorly prepared and underperforming? From what I can see, the Fighting Hammockers were defeated due to their obvious double-edged sword of comfort. Clearly, they were just too relaxed to be bothered by such a scrappy, sloppy team, and in the end got squished into the mud between the Wetfooters' toes. Eno and Coleman Brand were left hanging out in the wind by the true stars of this team, who were too confident in their extreme comfort and lack of hindering weight to be bothered. We can only ask ourselves about the failure of attendance from star players, including Clark, Warbonnet, and Dutchware. Even Coughlin's brand space blanket / canoe sail, rainfly, solar charger, hammock made an effort. Unfortunately, he spontaneously combusted upon stepping foot into the arena. Where do we go from here with one of the tournament's key teams, the Fighting Hammockers, out? All this analyst can hope for is that the wet-footers are served the thorough slapping they deserve from Bag of Wine in the Elite Eight in the coming weeks. From Grand Marais.
I think that's a certainty.
Oh, well, I don't know. Fishing Pole might have something to say. From Grand Marais,
We'll
this has
see.
been Jacob reporting live with co-analyst Franzia Dark Red Blend. Stay safe out there, and remember, it's never been a better time to be socially awkward and fully engaged in the world of online virtual tournaments. Well said.
Thank you for the commentary. Friend of the show, Jacob, chiming in there. The Fighting Hammockers just didn't have any bang in their mang on that matchup. And
did you just say
bang?
Did you just say that the Fighting Hammockers didn't have any bang in their hang?
Yes, their
Wow.
bang hang was off. So.
Yeah,
it happens. They just didn't play a very good game, and we're all still disappointed. But we have to move on. Maybe next year for the Fighting Hammockers, but we still have 16 worthy opponents squared off here in the East and Western brackets. But thank you for the commentary, Jacob.
Yes, thank you, Jacob. That was great. Aldi 1 coming in with his 2 cents. Number 12 Nalgene bottle received a gift with the new recommended social distancing guidelines that post a huge disadvantage to number 1 Sig Olsen. They should be able to drive through the lane, no problem with that much space. Number 3 Northern Lights should be able to easily light up number 10 CCS Rainfly, but not so fast. The forecast is looking wet, and that can only mean one thing. Either number 10 CCS Rainfly should cover the spread. Either way, they should cover the spread. That's wow.
I would note here that it is currently bright, clear blue skies here in Studio K, outside Studio K, I should say, and I'm expecting some stargazing tonight. I'm just going to say that right now.
Oh, yeah. The stars have, it's hard to say up here just because on a nice, clear, cold night, they are generally pretty incredible. But I have heard just because of the lack of vehicles on the road and fewer and fewer planes in the sky that people even down in closer to cities and stuff are getting some pretty great stargazing opportunities. But I do think that Aldi 1 is truly on point here with some incredible analysis, including maybe one of the, if it is intended or not, greatest puns I've read in a long time, saying that the number 10 CCS Rainfly should cover the spread. I don't know if that was intended or not, but he does continue.
That right there is some Shelter Conference humor.
Yeah, that's a season worth of Shelter Conference fan humor. I'm sure that's just run-of-the-mill within that fan base. The only real threat to number 1 Slap in the Bag is a leak in the bag, and number 5 Fillet Knife may very well be able to slice and dice their way to victory. Still not likely. Number 2 Fishing Pole seems to have a good hold on number 6 Wet Shoe, but can the Wet Shoe Whompers Biggs way down the FP liners and snap their offense? We'll see. And that's it for your Eastern bracket breakdown. Back to you, Bob. Unfortunately, the next commenter does not have a handle of Bob, but the our next in the field RBWCA commentator is Ghost of Ed Abbey. I can't prove this since I forgot to send in Final Four picks, but I had Labonga running the table.
This is accurate.
Yeah. Would have had the most interesting campfire stories, and portaging ability would have been all bonus. Hopalicious. I am not pleased that the mighty pizza biters went down. No, there are many unfortunate fans, but like so many other campaigns out there that shall not go named, it's not all about memes and tweets. You got to show up. I had them winning the Easts. What will I do with my life now? Time to throw my fandom behind water filter? Question mark. Go platypuses. I would love to see an all-water final. Interesting. What do you think about an all-water final?
I mean, as I was saying last week, it's very important to stay hydrated in these days. Take a sip every 15 minutes. So maybe it was meant to be, and maybe we can sip our way to victory for a couple more rounds and have that all-water final. I would love it, frankly. Yeah. I'm all on board.
Bird dogging it. There must be something in the Nalgene, because last week's results in the hashtag last tourney standing were off the rails. Let's dive right into what could be the biggest story of the tournament. Wetfoot Nation sending hammocks home. Yep. If you haven't heard the name Chaco Tadino Pro Water Boot, you better do some research, because it's carrying a greater load than even Labonga could bear. And no matter what happens this week, Tadino should be a lock for MVP at this point. A true inspiration for kids at home to practice their craft and dream big. Moving on, I'm predicting Kevlar Canoe will continue to use their BWCA home lake advantage and advance easily, and so will CCS Rainfly as they harness the energy of their superfan Tart Boys and their new Sailor Jerry bandwagon followers. Warning, don't sleep on the Sigurd versus Nalgene bottle matchup. Whoever wins that could be propelled forward as the new tournament favorite.
Ooh, I don't know about that. I checked the Vegas lines right before we went on air today, and I was asking around, and it sure seems like the lines have settled for the week. And Canoe was the favorite in Vegas going into the matchups this week. That was no doubt about that. But we'll see after we get to the Elite Eight. Things may change.
Yeah, it would be shocking, like I said last week, to see Kevlar Canoe go down. But, it's why you play the game. And our last comment from... I guess we should take some credit for the creation of this username, Walmart Brand Labonga.
He's back.
He's back with his deep insight after a heartbreaking defeat last week to the Slip Bobbers. I am officially taking my talents to hashtag Wetfoot Nation. Oh, no. Also finishes up with a hashtag that I can assure you will not catch on. Hashtag moist is hashtag moist is noise.
No,
so gross.
That's not noise.
No.
That's not noise or noised. You know what, Eric? I gotta say, I kind of talked some smack on wet footers last week, but I do own a pair of Astral water boots, and they're very nice, great grip. I was intrigued by the Tadino Pro hype last week. I have to admit, I had not watched a lot of the film, but I sat down, had a serious film sesh, watching some Tadino Pro highlights.
Oh yeah,
impressive game. Absolutely. The hype is well-deserved.
Yeah, he's like the Steph Curry of March Madness on a team that you just would not expect, but he can go on. He'll do some great things. What did he play for, Davidson? What was that team that he played for? And it was just like an unheard of...
Accurate.
Some 12 or 13 seed and now he's one of the best shooters in the game. Accurate. So that is our full in-the-field analysis from the fine folks in RBWCA. Thank you. We hope to continue in whatever way, shape, or form. I don't think we can get any more distant than this at this point. So as long as the internet doesn't go down, but every week...
We did have our power go out this morning briefly.
Oh, you had that too. I had a little blip, yeah. It was really weird because it didn't reset a couple of clocks in the house.
It was very quick.
It was super quick, so it like reset the internet, the fan on the fireplace, but the clocks in the kitchen didn't restart. So I was like kind of concerned like there was like a surge of some sort that just came in one room, but that's not very interesting to talk about.
I believe I've already said my lock of the week was the bag of wine. I believe you had the Bindleys, the 3 seed over there against the Tarpies.
I would say my lock of the week is definitely the number 3 Northern Lights, and that's just to take something that isn't so chalk as saying number 1 Kevlar Canoe is going to win. You know, it's to be a little bit more in the middle. I don't know.
Yeah, wine is definitely not a bold call.
No, neither would wine, especially considering the matchup with fillet knife. I don't know. I mean, I guess if you're truly looking at it from the perspective of like 2 things versus each other, like we haven't really discussed that. Like literally, what would
the only thing that could bring the wine down is a puncture.
Would be.
I mean, even then you just got to drink it quick. Then that's the key.
Yeah, or
I still put up a lot of points after a puncture. Let me tell you.
Yeah, you sure can. You can just suckle that bag of wine down to nothing, or unfortunately, I feel like you lost in round 2. You no longer have the duct tape. I've been in that situation once before where a stupid feral cat punctured a little wine hole in a bag I hauled out to Kalalau Beach in Hawaii, and fortunately, Fortunately, we had a little duct tape to salvage the situation, but otherwise, you have to figure out a way to hang it so that the wine isn't just draining out of the hole. And if you'd like to learn more,
you could hashtag bang your hang.
Hashtag bang your hang. The hangers weren't banging. I don't know. There's something. There's something there. But
I think so. All
right, loosen the tie and get to some results here. So get a little mister on my face. Just show you how stressed and anxious I am for these results.
I can't. The anticipation is killing me. Let's please get into the results. And I will say at this point, I'm going to move from this Moosehead Lager into something else for the results now.
Nice. Well, there is a extra tall Two-Hearted coming your way tonight. I will bury it. Oh, wow. You're really upping the ante to a Labatt Blue.
Bury it in the pebbles, Eric. Bury it in the pebbles.
I'll wrap it in some Clorox bleach wipes in stones that get washed over by the waves of Lake Superior at least 25 times before you can pull it out of the rocks and consume it.
Perfection. Act 2 of Tumble Home Sportsnet's coverage of the Tumble Tourney 2020 is brought to you by Labatt's Blue. That's a Canadian Pilsner. I just brought it from Remix. Let's hit it, Eric.
All right. Let's do this. I'm pulling it up as we speak, and it should be an interesting... Last week we were blown away by, I would say, at least half of the results, if not more. And we're going to start in the West.
We're going to Butte, Minnesota.
Yeah, the champion.
The Vegas favorite, the Kevlar Canoes, are up against a wool flannel shirt.
Yep, the final in Butte to go to the Elite 8, Kevlar Canoe versus wool flannel. If there has been any result up to this point that didn't give the hashtag cha-chunk lock of the tournament for team to run it, it is the utter disposal of Kevlar Canoe of wool flannel. Kevlar Canoe ousts the wool flannel 107 to 19. Kevlar Canoe moves on yet again.
No surprise there, Eric. I noted a lot of the scoring and these matchups had lowered down. As we move further into the tournament, they're tightening up their defense. You know, we're not getting any more easy buckets. So the scores across the board, nobody was hitting into the 150 totals. All the over-unders were around 120, I noted. So to get a 3-digit result like that, 107, very impressive. Your champions from Butte, Minnesota, the Kevlar Canoe. Paddle on, friends. Paddle on.
Yeah, and it's
I
all.
did not have that. I had wool shirt through actually there.
Woo!
And I am wearing my wool shirt today, but I just in solidarity, I did not expect the Woolies to make it through. This is not the BWWA, friends. This is the BWCA.
Right.
Congratulations to the Canoes.
Congratulations to the Canoes. I saw them through for sure. It also may be a result of spiteful fans of other teams just not wanting to vote, abstaining from voting. Their teams are out. Why? Whatever.
Sure.
It's like a result of the Stanley Cup playoffs you see every year. Your team's out. I don't want to watch anymore. It could be that too.
Well, my Final Four is wrecked. But, I'm still, trying to have as much fun with it as I can. Yeah. I would just like to give a shout out to the Woolies, the 12 seed, one of the darlings of the tournament. Congratulations. That stifling defense. No match for the Kevlar Canoe team. But their uniforms of a wool flannel shirt with a brightly colored chubby short, and then the tall socks, as I said last week, exquisite and absolutely wins my uniform of the trip. Absolutely easy. They had the best uniforms, and it's not even close. Yeah. So farewell to the BWWA. Maybe next year.
Farewell to the wool flannel, and maybe we'll see them back next year, and maybe we might even see tall socks out of the clothing conference next year. We'll see.
Yeah, those are some good garments out there. That is a tough conference.
Yes, moving on to see what the final matchup of the regional final. These two teams will meet in Ely. This is the second closest matchup to date that I have seen after the 65-64 or 75-74, I don't remember, Camera losing out to Filet Knife last week. This was a 4-point difference. We have Water Filter beating Tent 64-60. Thank God those dirty Tents are out of the tournament finally. Everybody knows they were cheating in the offseason.
The Platypus are through. The 7 seed with a 4-point victory. You are correct. Fact checked on the fly. It was 75-74 last week. Knife over Camera. Yep. But this is a very close result. I love it. And, there's a 6 seed versus a 7 seed out there in the Atikokan Championship. And down goes the Tent. Long live the Platypus. They are having a hell of a season. We did talk down on the Tents a little bit, and that was mostly my love of the Hammocks, my resentment that the Hammocks hadn't made it through out of the shelter conference slash sleeping conference. But, good season for the Tents, and I've spent many a fine night in a tent, and I don't hate on the Tent as much as it may have come off. So wherever you go, there you are, Tenties. Great season for the Tenties.
Great season for the Tenties.
Congratulations to the Filters, though. Yeah. Getting that particulate matter out of here.
It'll be
another water-based victory too. Watch out for these water-based teams.
Yeah, we've got number 1 Kevlar Canoe versus number 7 Water Filter to go to the Final Four. Moving on to Isabella. Yeah, you've got it. I had to turn around to see that. I got to
contribute something here from Studio K.
The 9 versus 5 matchup. W.A. Fisher taking on Canoe Pack. We've got another upset on our hands. W.A. Fisher moves on 72-53. There it is, Fisher on Fisher.
Fisher on Fisher, baby. The Mappies. Great. Oh, yeah.
The Mappies.
Oh, yeah. Hashtag find your way.
Hashtag finding your way.
Yeah, I broke rations a little bit last night. I had 2 beers and a glass of wine, and then I got out the doodle pen and put that Fisher on Fisher together. I was excited for this matchup. Nothing against the Canoe Pack. Those Canoe Pack's very good team. Mad respect for their game, but I was cheering for the Fisher.
Yeah, I think I was too. I think I voted for them as well.
I
Especially.
did. What was the score? Sorry, I missed the score.
Sure. W.A. Fisher 72, Canoe Pack 53.
Another very close one, within 20.
Yep. This next one, not very close. Do you have your cardboard cutout for this?
I got an actual Akko Force right here.
Oh, nice. Do you think this is? You know how all the different teams out there have their things that they do in the stands. Like you've got
which song?
All the racist chants with the arm and the Redskins and Braves going down like this, and then like the Saw chant. Would it just be like a whole fan section just pulling their arms back?
Just Saw. Well, everybody knows their motto.
Shush.
Saw.
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 Saw. Just keep doing it. Saw. It's really something else to behold if you see that done live in person.
Oh, it is.
Really rock that Saw.
It's very intimidating, and that's maybe one of the reasons that Camp Saw was able to take care of Slip Bobber Rig 93-33. Slip Bobber could not make a free throw, and that may have been the hypnotizing Saw action happening behind the free throw board in that first half. They went 0 for 12 from the line. Insane from a team like Slip Bobber.
I saw it myself, but I would tell you, as an insider, I can tell you I was there. I was the one person cheering on Team Saw, and
it was just you doing the Saw maneuvers.
I was back there, yeah, because of normally it would have been a lot of people behind there doing the Saw. It was just me, but I can't take credit, really. It was the wind. It was 50-mile-an-hour wind gusts up there in Remick, and for whatever reason, they couldn't make their free throws, and Saw just kept getting slam dunk after slam dunk. There was no free throws needed. 93-33. I honestly had it in my notes as 93-30, but I guess I miswrote that. It was a blowout from start to finish, and the Saws are through the 2 seed, and they're going to the regional semifinal against Maps, and what an instant classic that's going to be. I cannot wait, but very proud of very proud of the Saws. Had I been able to get the live feed to work in Remix, I was actually going to bring you. I had an elder Saw that was there later in the. And now I'm breaking down because I said there was only one person at the game, but the town officials were there. They kind of moved the game down away from the town of Remix, but then later I was talking. Yeah, and I talked to an old Saw who had made his way up there, and was very. It brought to tears almost. It was a great interview, but the internet wasn't working. The internet up in Remix is just, it's not very good. I'll be polite.
Sure.
So sorry I could not bring you that in the field interview with an old Saw, but we were both very excited. And he's actually the one who helped me find the Moosehead Lager. I was told they were out, but the old Saw, he led me to the right spot.
Well, they are one of the oldest teams, and they haven't seen a championship in over 80 years. So it is, they've finally gotten it put back together, and to see them on such a deep run at this point, it gives, it has to bring joy to your heart to a team like this that they've been so dry for so long. To be this close to a championship, I can't imagine running into some of those old Saws up there.
Yeah, it was really heartwarming. And we did cut up some dead standing cedar after that, and then we had to head back, But yeah, their team this year looks great. They got a couple up and coming Svens on the team, but those Silky boys they got, they get the lights out. Yeah, I'm not even kidding. I've never seen such a pretty shot. These Silky boys, they just raining points down, and it's a thing of beauty. Let me tell you,
they're only freshmen too. Those Silky
They're
boys.
only going to get better. That's the scary part. They're good now, 93 points against a very determined Slip Bobber opponent. But I'm telling you, you give them another week to prepare, and well-coached team too. They're going places. That coach Buck Saw, he's tough.
He is definitely tough on his players, and we'll see. If they have what it takes. I feel like W.A. Fisher is on a miracle run as well. This is the time of the tournament where you get to, we've got a bunch of really great stories, and they're all meeting up, and somebody has to win. it's not all about one story or another. You still have to show up and play the game, and I think either way, W.A. Fisher or Saw would be a great Final Four opponent to whoever comes out of the top bracket of Kevlar Canoe versus Water Filter.
Absolutely. I guess that does wrap up the Western bracket. Before we get into the Eastern bracket, Eric, I'd like to just say, to remind anybody listening to just give in and crack a beer. Join us. And we know you're thirsty, and just do it. Give in. And also, Tumble Tourney 2020 coverage is brought to you by our friends on Patreon. Shout out to all our friends on Patreon, and thank you for your support during these times. You're on the forefront of virtual tournament coverage, and we thank you for being here. It's important.
More than ever, we thank you for being there. And if you want to continue your support, it's more important than ever. But, geesh, by all accounts, it sounds like people are going to probably continue to be hurting out there. So I would understand if we're at the top of your list of things that need to be cut, to just be completely honest and frank with you. No worries. We will continue to entertain, and we will continue to keep it free. Moving to the East.
This is a big one up in Grand Portage, folks. And I am on the edge of my seat, Eric. What happened in Grand Portage?
Grand Portage. We know Sigurd Olsen easily disposed of the Coghlan's camp trough. We know that it was a little bit of a closer ordeal against the dumbfoundingly successful multi-tool in round 2. And apparently these were enough. It's one of those things that you could maybe attribute to the beating that he took in the first 2 rounds that may explain for just how close this matchup was. By 2 votes, Sigurd moves on.
Woo!
62
was the score.
62 to 60. The Nalgene water bottles go down.
Wow.
Yeah.
That sounds like an instant classic.
I can't even imagine. We'll post the replay of that up on our TSN Classic Replay Network YouTube channel that we're going to start next week.
Absolutely. Wow. I thought maybe Nalgene could squeak through, and we had some really good fortune happening for the water-based teams. They had it going on social media this week, too, with their new hashtag they busted out, Hydrationation, and I thought they were going through. I thought Hydrationation was going to show up, but maybe they're all going to get behind that water filter now. Who knows? Hydrationation definitely showed up in a very tough matchup there. Great season for the 12 seed Nalgene. They barely made it in the tournament. Last second ad. What a ride! What a ride! I'm gonna take a sip from my old Nalgene. Got some nice water and chemicals in this one.
Yeah, that you've had water in there. I think that you filled that in 1992. Is that right?
Accurate. Yes, that's correct.
Mm-hmm. So,
boy,
that was
congratulations to Sig. Another 1 seed. That's why he is a 1 seed, and the only remaining competitor from the Human Conference, and he's looking pretty good coming out of that one, I would say. But there's some tough competitors down there in Winton playing for the chance to move on and face off with Sigurd F. Olsen.
Yeah, no doubt. So, boy, yeah, just a 2-point difference moving down to my lock of the week, Chunk. Number 3 Northern Lights versus CCS Rainfly. Northern Lights coming out of a pretty, I would say, challenging tournament, taking care of Crazy Creek Canoe Chair in the first round. And then, who did they play in the second round? Oh, that's right.
They had the second most points scored in the second round. They took care of Dorothy Moulter last week. Right. Yeah. They were looking very impressive, and hashtag dark skies in the Keystone matchup here, especially with the clear skies coming in tonight. I'm feeling pretty good that they're moving on. Well, what happened there, though? The Tarpies, everybody knows the Tarpies play a tough game.
Everybody was really hot on the Tarpies, and Northern Lights, no trouble moving on, 84 to the CCS Rainflies, 39. So it will be a 1 versus 3 seed in the Elite Eight. Sigurd Olsen versus Northern Lights. That's going to be a mammoth battle. About as hardcore as it gets, I can't even imagine. It's going to be close.
It feels good to be on the Vindley's bandwagon right now.
It does.
I got to say.
They're moving.
I've had a lot of heartbreak in this tournament so far, but that's one team that I really enjoy watching them play, and I'm excited to see what they can do. That's a very tough matchup. That's gonna be one for the ages.
It is. I can't wait. And we'll say it again towards the end, but it can't be said enough. We have gotten used to a week in between every one of these results, but now that there's fewer games to vote on, we're moving down to just a few days in between. So this Elite 8 round will end on Wednesday, and then the Final Four will end next week. And then by then, the world will probably just be, it would be over, so whatever. But we will set up a championship to have everybody vote on that point, because as we said in the beginning, this website can only do 32 teams at a time, so we'll have to just make one-on-one tournament to post for all the marbles. So, moving on.
Very good. Moving on down to my lock of the week. It was number 1, slapping the bag of wine versus the cheeky upstart number 5 seeds, Fillet Knife, who just barely made it into this matchup, squeaking by the cameras 75-74 last week. I don't think they stand a chance out there in Tower. What happened?
No, I don't think that they do either. I think if it would have been a slapping the bag of wine versus camera, it may have been a little bit closer. But slapping a bag of wine, 84, does away with Fillet Knife's 38. So
very close. It was almost an identical score to the Vindley's victory up there. Both teams scored 84. Pretty impressive, but so far we've got the highest scorers being Canoe and Saw over in the West.
Yeah,
only one team has gotten the 3. That was the Canoes with a 107 up there.
Yeah, and the final matchup of the tournament is another close one. If you're following along at home, Wet Foot Nash, it might be time to pull out the talcum powder and the Gold Bond to dry those feet off. You're going home. Fishing Pole moves on, 72-52. We've got our chalkiest of Elite Eights out of the whole bracket. Number 1, slapping a bag of wine, will go up against number 2, Fishing Pole.
You know, I was wondering how this matchup was going to go, and it all boiled down to me for how the Toolies were going to vote. I just kind of felt like Toolies should vote for Fishing Pole, and they probably would, which proved to be true. But I had a hunch, though, that the people who voted for the multi-tool might be inclined to join in on Wetfoot Nash. Just seemed like kind of a match, an illogical match, if you will. But we've seen weirder voting patterns in this country for sure. But it turned out the Toolies voted with their conference, and they pushed the Fishing Pole across, I think. That was one I was definitely watching.
Yeah. So we've got an interesting Elite Eight at this point. In the East, Sigurd Olsen versus Northern Lights. Slapping a bag of wine versus fishing pole. And I would say the East actually ended up kind of coming back around. Last week was sort of a touch of madness in terms of results. Most of the upstarts and upsets have been disposed of. We're kind of back to chalk again a little bit. We've got a 1 versus a 3 and a 1 versus a 2. In the West, though, Kevlar Canoe is a 1, going up against Water Filter, 7, and our lowest remaining seed is the 9 WA Fisher versus Campsaw. I think that is the matchup I am most interested in, the Map versus Campsaw. I love
that'll be a fun one.
I love the tradition, the history of both teams. They're both looking to get back into that, hopefully long time coming championship at the very least. Maybe hang a Final Four banner in the gym. Yeah,
I would love to see it. I think every fan of virtual Boundary Waters tournaments would love to see that. But we'll see. I think Saw has primed for a run here. I've been calling it. Everybody knows Saw is my championship pick. Whether or not that comes out, probably not the most likely of outcomes, but I think they're right there. Map was severely underseeded, though, and I think they're playing with a bit of a chip on their page. F13 is coming out strong, and they got that Fisher on Fisher vibe. Watch out, baby. The contour lines are all coming together for that team. Looking up at the Canoe versus Water Filter matchup, I mean, I don't know how anybody gets in the way of Kevlar Canoe, especially Water Filter. They barely squeaked by the tents, but maybe a week of rest and anybody's got a chance. But boy, I think Canoes is almost as good as a lock. I don't want to pick my lock of the week yet, though. I think I'm going to wait until our coverage of the actual round. What are you going to do? Are you going to pick one?
Yeah, I'm staying on the Northern Lights bandwagon. That's my lock of the week. They're a Final Four team for sure. I mean,
yeah. And I'm not going to pick a 1 seed, even though I'm surprised 3 of the 1 seeds did make it through, especially after the way last week went.
Yeah, last week was nuts.
I don't want to pick a 1, and I'm not going to pick against a 1 either. So yeah, and everybody knows I'm on Team Saw, so I will make Saw my lock of the week.
You're going for Saw, and I'm going for lock of the week, Northern Lights. So in terms of the other matchups, yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be Northern Lights slapping a bag of wine and Kevlar Canoe and Saw.
Yeah, and they all had the higher vote totals this week, and that's what you think would translate. But you never know how people's bandwagons will adjust based on the results. I thought maybe certain fans of one team would jump onto another. Sometimes it works that way, and sometimes it doesn't. So we'll see. I'm more interested in how many people will vote, and especially with the shortened week here.
Yeah.
I don't know. It only takes literally going to take a minute to go vote in these. So I think long. 3 days is plenty of time for everybody to have their voices heard.
Yeah, exactly. And I think leading up to this, even up to just 2 days ago, I had received some questions both publicly and privately about whether we were going to be able to do this live again. That would have been really fun, but with the short notice of not wanting to do it live for the obvious reasons, we did figure out a way to do it with video and remotely, which is probably going to be the way we do it for a while going forward, which I think this is going to actually end up being fine. It sounds not as good or as fun as being in the same room with you, but last second kind of turned out that we just weren't going to be able to do it live. I might look into ways to do that so that you can actually see us. That's, all that is going to do is require me to most likely purchase and install both hardware and software, which at this time just seems like an unnecessary thing to try to be on YouTube live. But we will keep recording remotely, We've got a couple of things in the bag that when we were together last week re-recorded that aren't out yet. I hope the Apocalyptic Escape Strategies episode ages okay.
It was almost a little too real for me. I was listening to it at work the other day, and I'm still working. I got to be down there, and it's scary times. I got to say, being around a lot of people, and listening to that, it was, meant as kind of a fun thing at the time, but we were pretty serious about it, and a lot of the things we recommended we're not following now, so maybe we should be.
No, I mean, I don't. Yeah, there was a lot of things in it that I think were applicable, like end game strategies. Feel like
we still have communications, and we can still Skype.
Yeah, we talked about just the absolute absence of internet and electricity, which
no communication or power, that would be tough.
Yeah.
Well, now that Tandino Pro and the Wetfoot gang is out, that probably ends the MVP chances for that squad. Looking at who's left here, is Sig gonna run off with the MVP?
Yeah, I don't know.
If the Bindleys win, who gets the MVP then? There's no one standout star on that team. It's just a brilliant wash of colors dancing in the night sky. I don't know how you award it to anybody on that team.
Yeah,
maybe you give it to the Sunspot. I mean, the Sunspot is the engine that drives that team, but boy, I don't know. The Magnetosphere, that's a tough one. Bag of Wine, everybody knows the Chilable Red is just pouring it in every night. They probably look good there. Fishing Pole, I don't know. I'm not sure on Fishing Pole. I'm gonna have to look into them more. Maybe our friends on Reddit can offer some ideas on who they think might be a good MVP on Fishing Pole. How's the Western finalists look to you?
Yeah, I don't know either. What is the name of the MVP award anyway? You got the Conn Smythe in the NHL. And then all of the other names for the other sports that don't matter. But
I think it's now going to be called the George LeBunka Memorial MVP Trophy.
He was in the tournament, and he gets the MVP.
And of course, everybody just calls it the George.
Yes, the Bonga Cup.
Those bongo heads are sure excited. That's another big one. They're always hoping LeBunga's going to get through and win the Bongo Cup. To go home to the Bongo Heads, but it hadn't happened this year. But yeah, somebody's going to win the George.
He's so prolific that they've already named the MVP tournament trophy after him, even though he's still playing in the tournament.
That's how good he is. I mean, he just performs year after year.
Yeah.
Did you see on Reddit somebody had posted like a nice graphic of all the different like tandem? I think they even threw a couple 3-seaters on there of like just profiles of all the different Kevlar canoes.
Yeah, they did some for solos too. Yeah, I saw that.
They did the solos too. Yeah, so I mean, you look at that. And I don't know how anybody can look at that and not think the Min 2 is the best boat in that bunch. Watching that, Min 2, they won 107-19, but the Min 2 literally had I think it was 44 points. Let me check my notes here. The Min 2 scored 44 points, 18 assists, and 7 rebounds. 17 rebounds. Sorry, it was 17. He had a quadruple triple.
Wow, a quadruple triple. So
that's a big one.
Yeah, after the Tumble tourney, depending on what happens, they always have those after season kind of all-star tournaments. Maybe we could have a canoe type tourney or entry point tourney. We'll see.
Ooh, yeah. Virtual tournaments, baby. It's the future.
Yeah.
Looking down that map, I love the game F13 plays. The Fisher as a mascot, though, maybe that's the one team where the mascot could win it. Just their presence on the bench, that Fisher, such a cuddly but ferocious animal.
Agreed.
And then, of course, I think the Silky Boys, you have to give it like a shared MVP if the Saws pull it out. The Silky Boys, I mean, I don't even know how they're brothers. The one is, a shifty point guard, and then the other is an 8-foot tall lethal weapon in the paint.
Well, there's two twins.
They seem to have like a hive mind. They seem to have a hive mind together. Like they always know where the other is going to be and what they're doing. So that makes them very hard to defend against. I don't know how you'd pick one to be the MVP on that team. I think that might be they might have to split the George in that case.
Yeah, I mean, you get the captain, senior Sven, but he's dishing to the three Silky Boy brothers, two twins that are freshmen, and the older brother that's a junior. I mean, it's just a crazy, all from the same small town in Pennsylvania, Steel Country, and then they've also got the deep bench. Some Finnish and Swedish gems on that bench that come in that just pound you in that second half.
Coach Bucksaw really did an amazing job recruiting this squad. Yeah. International players, and how they all come from different backgrounds, but work together towards the same goal. It's impressive to watch.
Yeah, he's a coach that players want to play for. It's hard to replicate. You can't just buy that.
Yes.
I'm very excited for
It concludes our coverage of the Sweet 16, I think. Just wanted to give a shout out to Thomas Werner for winning the Iditarod, a strange Iditarod too. But they're done. So we are definitely the hashtag last tourney standing. Jesse Royer got third and Brent Sass took fourth. The old reliable Mitch Seavey powered up the coast in tough conditions to grab a second there. Pretty weird and fun race to follow. We'll eventually update. There was some players in the Fantasy Iditarod. I'm not sure who's going to win yet. There's still some teams trapped in Elam right now, so it's not over, but we'll update that later. Don't worry. Our Fantasy Iditarod is still going. And I've just been told, I thought I had lined up an interview with a slip bobber, but the slip bobber has been unable to get through to Studio K. So maybe we'll have to do that next week.
Yeah, so if you are going to vote on the Elite Eight, please do. Just know that it ends this Wednesday. 3 days only. Every day feels like a week now, so that should give you plenty of time to vote.
Wednesday at noon?
Yeah, I believe so. So I think the last time I checked, it was today's Saturday, 2:05 Central Standard Time. The length of time remaining to vote in the Elite 8 / on this website, they do call it round 3. The semifinals, 3 days, 21 hours, and 54 minutes. So get out there.
Right. Are there any votes already?
No votes yet.
Okay.
It's only been 2 hours since the results have come out.
Have you been reading The Stand? Have you started again?
No, I have. It's up at Clearwater. I'm going to have to pick it up on my way out to start a winter camping trip, which I hope is going to go successfully.
Yeah, you should bring it with you and start it. Chapter 8 is terrifying.
Yeah, I did. Like I said last week, I have started it. I've gotten through, like I said, half of it, and then it just kind of got to the point where it was just like, get super bogged down. Classic Stephen King,
there's a lot of threads going on. I'm not going to go into it, but yeah, Chapter 8, they just revealed that the disease or the bug or whatever is called Captain Trips. Why?
Yeah, I don't remember that.
Just read it before we went live. I was reading Chapter 8, and they revealed that how it spread so quickly, and then the virus was named Captain Trips.
Yeah, the only two things I remember about it was the one dude walking like through New York City who ended up meeting up with like some floozy drug addict woman, and then like some lady in the Midwest who was like the seer of all kind of a person.
Yeah, we haven't got any of that, although Larry Underwood, who famously wrote the song Baby Can You Dig Your Man, he did just sober up and drive to New York to visit his mother.
Oh, yeah.
So maybe the person who was walking through New York, I haven't gotten very far down Larry's story. Fran just found out she's pregnant and had to tell her father, who, boy, poor old Pop. He took it pretty well, though. He seems like a sweet dad.
Yeah.
And, Stu's in the Plague Center in Atlanta, and he for some reason, of all the boys from Arnett, Texas at the gas station, he seems to be the only one doing okay, and nobody knows why. He's being a little ornery, so I don't know, a lot of threads going on, and I'm literally only 80 pages in. So
There's a lot
this
of
book is 15 pages. I got the extended cut.
yeah, it's massive. No, I am planning on going out winter camping. I don't know. It's one of those things that we've been hemming and hawing over all week, but I don't know. It's going to be a solitary drive between here and where we're putting in. We have all of our supplies.
Run into somebody on a portage.
We're not portaging if we can help it. I'm not telling you where I'm going either. At least not listeners. I'll tell you later. Maybe you can meet us out there next weekend. Yell at me from a distance on how things are going.
Yeah, let me bring my town germs to Eric.
No, just get a megaphone.
Can't we just Skype to each other?
I don't think there's Wi-Fi where I'm going.
Set up camps on opposing points, and then we'll old school Skype with a megaphone.
Yeah, I'll just curl up some birch bark and yell from the distance. So yeah, I think that probably means the next time we're going to be getting together to do anything like this will be just next weekend. So that we'll be covering two rounds.
We'll be covering the Elite Eight and the Final Four games.
Yeah, by next weekend we will know who the two teams in the finals are. And
then the next show after that will be like the final two.
Yeah. Yeah, then we'll have
That's it. We'll have the championship.
That'll be the championship.
A final full episode. We should just recreate it somehow. We can simulate that game. We'll actually play it out. Like one of us will take on the role of each team, and then we'll duke it out virtually.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes.
Based on how the vote goes, though, it'll be like a recreation.
Yeah, but this is what I'm bringing out with me when I'm going out into the woods because I haven't started this yet.
Wow.
Have you?
Yes.
Have you finished it?
No.
Okay. All right. It's the second book of the King Killer Chronicle. We talked about it at the end of last year, I remember at one point. But I am starting the second book, The Wise Man's Fear, a nice 1,000-page tome while I'm out sitting on the ice.
The book is supposed to be out in August, so good time to start it.
Yeah.
Be primed for when the book comes out. Hopefully it's not delayed.
No, hopefully not. But who knows at this point.
All right, friend, you ready to go hang out on opposite sides of the beach from one another and burn some pallets?
Yeah, I won't lie. This microphone that you deposited into a grocery bag on your steps when I got home, I wiped it down with a Lysol bleach rag, and it was wet for like 20 minutes. So
don't worry. I have a box of gloves. I did not handle it directly.
Yeah.
Lick. I didn't lick or handle your mic.
You didn't lick it? Okay, good. I'm glad it came from my side. So I mean.
Yeah, it's your mic. I didn't touch it. Like I said, I gloved up. I'm a professional, and no germs were in that bag. Although I can't vouch for the salted minnows.
Well, those have been in the freezer, and they're currently in our freezer.
And
so.
salted.
Yeah, and salted. And those came up from Wisconsin like a month ago.
Oh no! Somebody call the bags.
Yeah, somebody called the DNR. Yeah, so we're doing our best. You should also do yours. Don't screw around. Jesus, we're not sitting here. You can all see what's happening. Any kind of unnecessary travel sucks for everybody. I've canceled any visits that I had for the rest of the year with people. Clearwater and almost every other resort that I know of up here is closed down. We don't need to induce any extra travel. Things are going to get worse before they get better. Just stay put. That's all I'm going to say.
Right on. Enjoy the rest of your Saturdays, friends. For Tumble Home. My name is Adam, coming to you remotely from Studio K. Thanks you to Eric, my good man, and studio headquarters. He got all the gizmos and the tech going here to make this happen. And so I don't know. Hopefully the audio was not too painful. I think it sounds good.
I think it'll be fine. I've downloaded a Skype recorder, So we can do a lot in terms of improving that quality, and the video, yeah, it's probably going to be something that we need to improve on going forward, but we've never been known for our video. We've not really been known for anything, but video is at the bottom of that list. So we only had one live show in the past. That was fun when we were able to do it. Unfortunately, we did it right at the cusp of times when we shouldn't be sitting in the same room being live together. So hopefully we can do that again in the future. Maybe get some more interaction from folks out there listening and following along. But this has been an excellent first remote recording. When I get out of the woods, we can talk about that, and then we can still continue doing what we're doing. The beauty of the world we live in now, all things notwithstanding, is that we still do have access to each other through the technology that we have created. So, with that,
sounds good, friend. Well, this has been a production of Tumble Home Sportsnet for Tumble Home, a Boundary Waters podcast, or one of our other subsidiaries. Thank you for being here, and get out there and vote virtually. That is.
Yes, don't get out there and vote. Just vote from your home.
I'm heading to the beach. The sun also rises. Good night.
Good night.
And good luck.
And good luck. Enjoy your Saturdays.